Hello, I'm RJ City, and you are listening to the MonsterCast. You're going to talk about Bela Lugosi. They're going to talk about Lon Chaney Jr. Be so sad, holding his hat, saying, "Please put me in this room and don't unlock the door." And you can't do any better than the Doll Brothers. Jack and Ryan, they're brothers, but they're also bros. What? Pardon? Wrestling. Well, who the hell wants to talk about wrestling? These are horror movies. It's a deep genre. It's a smart genre. Fantastic actors. Fantastic cinematography. Wrestling is just sweating and fireworks and bouncy ropes. There's nothing to how do you talk about that every week? All right. Let's see them try. Take it away, you crazy dolls.
Jesus fuck my fucking ass. What the fuck? Please shut up.
No. Look, Master Watto is a
shut
champion.
up.
You're gonna put some
Stop
respect on his
fucking
name
saying
now.
Master Watto on this fucking show.
IWGP Junior Heavyweight Co-Champion.
What's up, you guys? Sean Rossap of Fightful here. You're watching the MonsterCast with Jack and Ryan. A big shout out to those fellas. Good people. Check them out.
Oh my god, what is this?
It
Who
looks
is
like a
making
TV.
the New Japan titles? They need to stop making
It's like
titles.
a TV, bro. They took it too literally. That's the problem.
They should have just turned it into a TV. I would have been more
know.
impressed.
That would have been cooler.
Put some
Make
antennas
it-
on the top.
No, just make it like a digital title. Like you could display whatever you want on the
Oh,
digital.
like an
title.
LCD screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then have
That'd be
the
sick as
picture
fuck.
of the person that's the champ. That'd be so good.
Oh fuck.
That'd be worth it.
Wrestling podcast. How fucking original.
Jake and Brian, Brandon Cutler here from AEW, and I hope you guys have an awesome podcast with the MonsterCast. What was that? Your name is Jack and Ryan? Shut up, Jack and Ryan.
Tell me who you would sign first.
Hiroshi Tanahashi.
No, not overall, genius. Between the two goddamn examples I'm about to give you.
Master Wada.
Killer Cross or Dominic Dijakovic, who are you signing first?
Killer Cross. 100%.
What the fuck?
Absolutely.
Wrong! That
No,
answer is
I would.
wrong!
I would.
Oh
Killer Cross.
my god.
You don't know shit! Your opinions suck!
I guess I mean, you're welcome.
Fuck,
See,
I'll boo it.
I don't think I've ever said boo.
I will.
That's so stupid.
I'll do it. Boo! You can't. Don't actually say the word because that's why it sounds weird. You gotta. It's like more like a note. Boo! You don't fucking actually say boo. Boo! 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 You don't turn it into a fucking chant. You actually have to.
I will. I'm gonna do that at Forbidden Door.
Just start a boo chant. Boo! 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 Boo!
Here's your host of the MonsterCast, the Straight Edge Monster Jack and Ryan.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the MonsterCast. I'm the Straight Edge Monster Jack. That is Ryan, and we got a big show for you today. We got debuts, secret signings, championship title changes, a new tournament, and so much more. Also, a debut of a new segment, Jack to the Drawing Board. I don't know how often we're going to do these. Maybe once. I think maybe like once a month I'll do it. But today's edition of Jack to the Drawing Board will be me ranking the top 5 women's pay-per-view matches of the year of all the ones that I've seen. Let me just throw that out there before people come in here and say you don't watch real wrestling and all these Stardom matches. I don't watch Stardom on a regular. It's very hard for me to actually access Stardom and to actually watch it because I'm usually at work when these shows are happening, and they happen on the most random days. So like I don't really. It's very hard for me to keep up with. I do have Wrestle Universe, obviously. I know you have access to that now as well. So you actually watched the Jericho match that we'll talk about a little bit later, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I had to wake up this morning and finish putting together my MS Paint graphics and watch Rampage and Collision back to back, which we'll also have to do this week because they actually air back to back this week on Friday. Because obviously Saturday is Full Gear. We got a huge show for you today, though. Anything you want to talk about before we get started? Where is this fucking guy? That's what we want to know. Danhausen just picked up this beautiful figure. I thought it was hilarious last week when he said he came up on the screen and said, "No, I'm debuting next week." But then there was no mention of him this week at all. I thought it was going to be like a running bit.
Well, he put something on Twitter too. Said justified where is Danhausen chance. So, maybe the plan was for him to be there, and then I don't know, something changed. But yeah, it seems like he's ready to come back at least. So.
I mean, I'm cool with the running bit of him just like keep pushing it off, like he's there and he's literally debuting, but he says, "No, I'll be back next week." I think that's funny.
Well, you don't want to turn it into the Eva Marie thing, or
yes,
that's
I do.
just that.
Yes, I do. That was a great storyline for her too, because that was hiding her weaknesses. Hiding her weaknesses and accentuating, one, her looks, two, her ability to get fucking heat by just pissing people off because they just want to see her get her ass kicked anyway. That was a beautiful storyline. I can't believe like they didn't finish that out and released her instead. She was finally doing something that I was interesting on TV, and then they fucking released her. That was the first time they released her, obviously. Anyway, it's November 12th, 2023, and this is our 32nd episode, I believe, of the year. I just put the thumbnail up, and I still don't even know. I made it. I fucking made the thumbnail, and I don't even know. But I'm pretty sure it's the 32nd episode. But yeah, I got my sweet new Danhausen figure, dude. And on the back here, they've got 3 other figures that are their first-time figures that I do not have, and that's Bunny, Butcher, and Blade. We'll talk about them coming up soon as well. But first, for hot tag topics. Actually, you know what? I forgot. You want to check out my shoes? The shoe check today. These are wrestling related. I'm going to hit you with some knowledge real quick. Oh my God, here. I'm going to hit you with some wrestling knowledge for you guys today. Ryan used to have to watch Raw with me every week because that was my show. I had control of the TV on Monday nights. A lot of people don't know this. I think I've mentioned it on the show before, but Ryan and Ethan, our other brother, had the control after school, and I had to watch fucking Cartoon Network constantly. Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, I had to. I don't know shit about Dragon Ball Z, so clearly I was not watching or paying attention. So in the morning before we went to school, I was watching the shit out of Sports Center, the same Sports Center 3 times in a row. Then after we get home from school, those two got control of the TV and watched Cartoon Network, which was mostly when they first turned it on was Dragon Ball Z. I'm sure they watched other stuff too. And then at night, when it was wrestling nights, I got to watch wrestling. Do you remember in the Attitude Era, the 2 shoe companies that had like the most ads? One was K-Swiss, and the other one is the one I'm about to show you guys right now.
No.
They used to sponsor them all the time.
Skechers.
No, close though. These are lugs. Yeah. Remember lugs boots? The lugs commercials. These are my all white lugs. And I literally only picked these up because of the connection to wrestling when I was a kid. And I like these boots. I'm not gonna lie. They're like low top boots, but they're all white. They're still pretty clean. I don't wear them that often. Obviously, they're very heavy. They're not uncomfortable, but they are heavy. I will say that. I don't wear them long enough to be uncomfortable, item. I guess is the best way I can describe it. Yeah.
That's kind of how I am with the Black Cats. Like they're too tight, but I don't wear them that much, so it's fine. So
yeah, I actually asked on Twitter, I took a picture of the top of them, like the very top toe, because I was wearing pants that were covering them up. I said, if anybody can tell me what kind of shoes these are before I leave the grocery store, I'll donate another tennis ball to the Humane Society. No one even tried. I was hoping somebody would at least try.
I thought you were gonna say Asics at first too. That was my other guess. But then I was like, have they ever fucking advertised? So who knows?
No, I don't think Asics ever advertised on WWE.
Shibata wears
Lugs Lugs was every like 2 times every fucking show. It seemed like that, and Skittles. I think Skittles was a big sponsorship for them too. All right, hot tag topics. Let's get it going. Let's talk about some New Japan stuff. Not DDT, but we will stay in the same country. Let's do this. New Japan Pro Wrestling. There's rumors around the company that the Intercontinental title may be returning at Wrestle Kingdom because of the destruction to the UK and the US titles that David Finlay did. where Wrestle Kingdom 18 will now be a triple threat match between Ospreay, who is the current UK champion, US champion, whatever you want to call it, David Finlay, and Jon Moxley. So, I guess, before we get into the rest of the card, do you think that they should bring the IC title back? I think I know the answer to that. And who do you have early on going into this match? No, you don't have to make an actual prediction. Like, who are you leaning towards? Obviously, that's not going to come for another 2 months.
Yeah, that's hard. That's kind of what makes it hard to say. But leaning towards is still Finlay, honestly, for 2 reasons. First of all, on commentary when he originally broke the belts, I think it was Chris Charlton said that Gato told him that for the Rebel era, they're gonna make a new belt specifically for Finlay. And if that's true, if they're going out of their way to go make like an entirely new fucking belt, and it's not just a return of the Intercontinental,
Do you think it's going to be like the Irish title instead of?
No fucking clue, brother. But I will say that with Ospreay most likely leaving to AEW and Moxley most likely, obviously, being in AEW for the rest of his fucking life, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a way that they're trying to get Finlay some more credibility by having him
catapult him. Be like, hey, look who I beat. Yeah.
And especially
I see that.
If they're making a belt specifically for him and putting him against 2 guys with a lot of credibility but aren't necessarily in the company, then I could see that.
Now, I can't judge, obviously, how the Japanese fans are taking to David Finlay, but I can tell you right now, the U.S. fans are not a huge proponent.
Well, it's because
in the spot.
You have to look at who he's following. He's following fucking Jay White and Kenny Omega. Like, there's no way. He's never been that. He'll never be that. It's always going to feel kind of like a bad...
Which is crazy to think about because David Finlay was in the same class as Jay White, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yep.
All right, looking at the rest of the card. Do you have the card pulled up for Wrestle Kingdom 18?
No, I can though.
Yeah, pull it up. Tell me what our hype levels early on on November 12th for a January 4th show. What are our hype levels for the announced matches at Wrestle Kingdom 18? Obviously, we have this match, and you're going to have Naito versus Sonata for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
It's American ass search engine. I type in WK18 card and it brings up fucking NFL Week 18. All right. Let's see. Oh, I know you don't give a fuck about half of these because Sonata and
No, I want Naito to win. I want Naito. I will be wearing my LIJ shoes during that show. I want Naito to win so fucking bad.
Yeah. Right now, probably like a 7. Depends on what else they add, but it's already shaping up to be a pretty good show. Okada Danielson rematch is going to be good.
Yes, obviously, yes, for sure.
Obviously, Despy and Hiromu is going to be good. Shingo and Tamatanga, everybody kind of shits on his wrestling and stuff, and they've already had this match multiple times. I think they've wrestled 2 or 3 times already for I think even for the open weight belt. So I don't know why they're doing this one again. Seems weird. That one I'm whatever. On none of those matches have like they're not bad, but none of them have stood out as anything really special, which is something that's hard to say about Shingo's other matches. So I don't know if it's just a weird pair up or if Tama. I mean, nobody is putting Tama on like their top 20 or anything, but I mean he's not a bad wrestler. I think he just does better in tag stuff. The triple threat is going to be cool.
Do you think he would have done better as a singles if they would have kept him heel?
Probably, yeah.
Like, I mean, if they would have stayed in Bullet Club and broke him away from being in a tag team and made him singles in Bullet Club, he probably would have been a bigger deal, I think.
I think that's part of the problem too. He cut his hair, and then also he's just got a hard time being like a cool face in a way that's very easy for him to be a cool heel. And he just that switch, it doesn't grab the attention the same way, I guess. It's not necessarily his fault or anything. It's not anything he's specifically doing wrong. It's just the change in the look and then the change in the orientation of his character. Just it's not really hitting the same. But it's not like there's anything I could point out and say that he's doing wrong with it either. It's just different. And then Sonata and Naito, and that's not just because I don't want him to block me on Twitter again. I'm genuinely just like, it's just not, it just doesn't hit the same. And then Sonata and Naito, I think everybody at this point kind of wants Naito to win, not necessarily because they're all Sonata haters like you, but I think Naito just getting another run right now would be good for the company, I think.
And Sonata's run has not been good for the company. That's why. It's not been good.
I will say that it has not drawn as much interest from the international fan.
There's no way that you can sit there with a straight face and say that Naito's popularity away from the US in Japan is not 10 levels higher, 100 levels higher than Sonata's.
That's what I'm saying. It would be good for the company because he's more popular. Yeah.
He definitely needs to win this fucking title. Okay. Also, I believe that it would help make him look better with his stable too. Like, see what happens when you left my stable. Your stable's already fucking crumbling. You've already had people fucking turn on you. Your stable wasn't even a year old yet, and somebody already fucking left your stable. And you left my stable. Yeah, you got the title, but then I beat you for that title. Would make his stable regain some credibility when everybody would seem to be leaving his stable. When you had Evil leave, and then you had Sonata leave, and they both won the world title away from him. Naito getting it back, I think, would restore a lot of credibility for his stable as well.
Yeah. Did you see the Shingo versus Trent Beretta match?
No. I saw highlights of it.
It was just it was like 2 nights ago, but yeah, it was that's one of those things where when I'm looking at Shingo versus Tama on paper, I'm like, it could be good, but then having seen this match before, I know it won't be. But like Shingo in matches normally, and it's not like, again, Trent, nothing wrong with Trent. Trent's a good wrestler, but he's not somebody that you think of as like top guy. But you go watch that fucking match, and it's like there's something
the
there
between the Trent match and Shingo versus Tama and Shingo. The funny thing is even though I know Shingo will beat Trent, and I know that, and I don't know if Tama will. I don't know if Shingo will beat Tama because of how New Japan books, especially at Wrestle Kingdom. I'd still rather see the Trent Beretta Shingo match, even though I know he's going to lose, because I think it's just a way better match.
Just like style matchup, you mean?
Just entertaining. Yeah, just more entertaining.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Tama as the singles, but it just doesn't hit the same for me. And he's not like I said, he's not a bad wrestler. He's solid all the way around. It just doesn't really hit the same.
All right.
But yeah, that Trent match with Shingo was really fucking good.
Was there any other matches announced that you didn't go over yet?
No
multi-tags, obviously, right? They don't announce those super out loud.
Nah.
Okay. So Danielson, Okada, Sonata, Naito, and the triple threat, and then of course the junior heavyweight. Those are pretty good fucking matches. I'm gonna go. I guess it depends on where they slot Tanahashi on the card.
If they slot Tanahashi on the card.
Tanahashi will be on the card.
Maybe after. Yeah.
If he has like a singles match, I'll go 8. I'll do hype level 8, depending on who is. Well, if it's a singles match, I think it'll obviously be against somebody that's obviously decent, or he wouldn't be in a singles match against them. But if they slot Tanahashi in a multi-tag match, yeah, it'll probably be a 7 like you.
Do Omega versus Tanahashi, run that back from right before Kenny left.
I mean, you could do all kinds of shit because of how many people that have been on Wrestle Kingdom. Like you could do an Eddie Kingston match. You could do Eddie Kingston versus Tanahashi for the New Japan Strong title. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Somebody said on Twitter that it was so fucking annoying. They were talking about the ROH stuff. And they're like, I don't even know who the ROH champion is right now, and blah, blah. I was like, how the fuck do you not know who the ROH champion is right now? First of all, he's a double champion. Secondly, they did a whole goddamn story arc with the match
story. Huge story, and one of the most popular wrestlers in the world.
What do you mean? That's a you problem. And then I go through his fucking Twitter, and the man's like constantly posts about TNA shit and Impact. Like I searched his shit for Eddie, trying to see if he's ever mentioned Eddie Kingston. He's mentioned Eddie Kingston like twice, like 900 other fucking mentions for Eddie Edwards. Like, bro, you're just not watching the right show. What do you mean? Like,
I can't imagine why you don't know who the champion is if you don't watch the product. And who lives in a TNA Impact bubble that badly?
That was weird to me too. Like, they got a solo TNA fan? That's crazy.
There's nothing wrong with liking TNA. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying to only watch TNA. That'd be like me only watching arena football and not watching NFL, or Canadian football or any of the other sports.
I don't know who the fuck won the Super Bowl. What do you mean?
Football fan.
Yeah, and then getting on Twitter like, I don't know who won the Super Bowl. They didn't advertise it enough. What do you mean, bro?
Yes.
What do you mean?
That's accurate. All right,
Jesus.
let's move on. We got some more burning topics. Speaking of burning, the contract between CW and NWA looks like it's been burnt up. Let's talk about this for a second. WWE NXT is now officially moving to the CW. We talked about the NWA the last couple of weeks about moving to the CW. First week we said it better be the CW. Then the next week it literally came out that it was the CW. And now this week it's coming out that, it's NXT's going to CW. And now the NWA is in jeopardy of not being on CW at all and possibly even being on their app only or some shit that I read. How crazy is this in a 3-week span to go from, hey, we got a deal, and then us being, it better be CW or it's a bust. Then it being CW, and then literally after your last pay-per-view, 212 buys, just goes up in flames because of a spot, some dumb spot that had nothing to do with wrestling on your show.
Here's the thing: if they signed NXT that quickly afterward, it wasn't because of the spot. You think
this is a WWE, ECW, TNN type deal?
They
saw that they could get WWE, so they kicked off the smaller one.
Yep, 100%. Because I'm there's no way they would have signed a deal with NXT that quickly if they weren't already talking to them. And they might use that cocaine spot as like a reason or like an excuse or whatever. But I'm pretty sure it was just, oh wait, hold on, we can actually get NXT. They're on board from the talks that we were having before, whatever. Let's do that. Fuck off with this other one. I don't think
I'm not saying that you can't have both, but I find it hard to believe that pumping that much money into NXT it's a 5-year deal, by the way. And it's anywhere from $35 to $37 million a year for NXT. So that would be 175 million minimum, $175 million from CW for 5 years for NXT. You're not pumping that money into that and then also spending more money on a NWA product, even if you were spending that, even if you're showing it at 12 at night, graveyard shift or something.
You know what might get them to do that is if NWA paid them. Because all the eyes are going to be on that channel.
They don't have any money to do this.
Hey,
bro.
You don't know how much money Billy Corgan's got. Listen.
I know it's not enough to pay CW to be on their network. Now, I know CW lost a lot of programming with all their DC shows are gone now. Walking Dead, I mean, not Walking Dead, but Supernatural's gone. So you got no Supernatural. You got no more Vampire Diaries. You got none of your DC shows, your 4 or 5 DC shows that you had where it was Flash, Arrow, the time traveling one, that was Legends of Tomorrow. Legends of Tomorrow. You had Supergirl that moved over, and then you also had Batgirl or whatever, Batwoman or whatever that failed miserably after 1.5 seasons or whatever it was, 2 seasons. So you have none of those shows, so you don't have to spend any money on that. So I guess you could technically have enough money to do both. But do you want to just go from, hey, we're a DC showing program, to now, hey, we're just going to feature a bunch of fucking wrestling and see how it goes?
CW stands for C Wrestling. The thing with the NWA deal, if they did keep it even having NXT, is that it only benefits NWA. It doesn't really do that much for CW because they'll be able to kind of piggyback off of other wrestling viewers already, if that were the case on that channel. But that's pretty much it.
Thursday night, 6:05 p.m. baby, old school.
Yeah, the fucking era.
It's gonna be. Let's say they kept it. It would be a shitty. It would be a shitty time slot, or it'd be a shitty day. I'm telling you, it would not. I don't think it would work. I don't know. I wouldn't be against it. I guess it depends on what you're already showing and what their numbers are. I guess. Yeah. It'd be like a short. I would do like a short-term deal, like a year. Let's test it out. Let's see what happens. And if you're not getting more numbers than what we already had up there, then we're just going to pull the plug after a year and just not re-sign a new deal.
Well, that's the thing that people who bitch about AEW ratings don't understand too, is that what TBS used to have in that time slot was not doing anywhere near those fucking numbers. I promise they don't care. They don't care if it's like if Collision gets like a 400K one week or whatever.
That's what I've said about Collision on Saturday when I said it'll work. It doesn't work in terms of comparing it to other wrestling shows that are not on Saturdays or that were on Saturdays in the past. But there's literally nothing on TV on Saturdays when it's not fucking college football season. Nothing. That's why they play fucking straight movies all fucking day. Because they know no one's fucking watching the shit. No one's going to sit there and watch movies that you can watch on a streaming service with no fucking commercials and sit there and watch a fucking TV screen that has 80 fucking commercials. That just doesn't happen.
Like censored versions of it too.
Yeah, consolidated versions, censored versions, yes, all that.
Yeah.
Because they have to fit it in a 2-hour window type shit, yes.
Or just watch A Christmas Story fucking 9 times in a row. But yeah, the the thing with the CW though, if they have NXT again, the only people that'll benefit to keep NWA on top of that would be NWA. I don't see any scenario where they do both.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about some more network stuff. Here is the breakdown that I've come up with here. This is all 3 of the major WWE shows, SmackDown, NXT 2.0, and Raw. What program or what network they're currently on, and what network they're going to. And in Raw's case, possibly going to. All right, so SmackDown is on Fox. It's going to the USA Network. NXT is on the USA Network. It's going to the CW. And Raw is on the USA Network, but it is leaving. Possibly. There's still an outside chance that they could stay. But the rumor right now is that it's going to FX is the favorite for its landing spot. What do you think about this? And how crazy is it that we might see WWE on 3 different networks, dude, at the same time? Like, that's never happened before.
Why'd your voice just do the Brock Lesnar break on this? Let's do this. I don't know if that moving to FX would be a better network for them. SmackDown's going to lose a lot of viewers not doing Fox anymore.
Hey man, whoever gives them the money, it's a better move for them. They don't care. Just like AEW doesn't care about the ratings. It's about what money is coming in and what you're doing. I mean, they matter a little bit, but they don't matter nearly as much as what the fucking people on the internet think they matter, right?
Yeah.
If FX is going to give WWE a shit ton of money for Raw, then they don't give a fuck what if it's in 1 million less households or whatever than USA.
Yeah. I think that when they start doing those one-to-one comparisons on stuff like that's about to happen this upcoming week, where Collision's running on a Friday because SmackDown or because their pay-per-view is on Saturday, you're gonna have these head-to-heads with SmackDown and Collision, and people are gonna make comparisons to the old ratings and say, oh well, they did however many less or whatever compared to last time they were head-to-head, blah blah blah. So I mean that.
Well, that's why we don't even like on this show. We don't even talk about that.
We don't.
I know we don't really. We used to do the ratings when it was AEW versus NXT because that was the hot new thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But we on this show don't even talk about WWE's ratings in 2002 were 5s or whatever compared to now and they're 1.67s and shit like that because it was a different time. So there's no point in even bringing those old ratings up. Honestly,
people will do it though. That's what I'm saying. And you wonder from the point of view of like, being a brand with a competitor, how much that factors into some of their decision making when it comes to where they move, like whether or not they're still going to be able to make it look like they blow out the competition as much when they're not on a network TV, they're on cable. So I don't Raw on FX seems weird to me.
Like, okay, so here's the deal. Let me try to break this down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The coolest thing about this for WWE's case is that even though Fox literally came out with a report saying that they were bleeding money from the WWE deal, USA decided, hey, we'll give you more money for the same amount of time. They gave him $1.2 billion when Fox only gave him $1 billion for the same amount of time for 5 years. So now USA is going to get rid of the flagship show because, like you said a few weeks ago, they just saw the ratings from Fox, not realizing that, or I mean, I'm sure they realize it, but that's not how it comes off. It comes off like they didn't realize it. You're going to get the same amount of ratings for SmackDown as you did Raw.
Yeah.
I feel like. Unless you just feel like there's more viewers on Fridays than there are Mondays, but I just don't see how that's possible. So you got SmackDown getting $200 million more than their previous TV rights deal with Fox.
Mm-hmm.
NXT, for the first time ever, is bringing in you a shit ton of money. $175 million for 5 years. That's minimum because the report is 35 to 37, so I just went with 35. Minimum.
Never going to full sale again, baby.
$175 million for NXT. Yeah. And then whatever the fuck Raw ends up getting from either USA, which if they go to USA, it'll be drastically lower than probably whatever the one is now. So they'll probably lose a little bit there. But if they are able to land on another network, it's a good shot good chance that they're going to get around the same or more than what they previously got in their last TV negotiations for Raw as well. So, like, if you're sitting there with like WWE, you're like, oh, we're in a good fucking spot. Like, you can't be in a better spot right now. And I don't know if you can really attribute that to Vince or anything, because he's just sold out fucking $8.5 million worth of shares or whatever.
8 million of his shares.
8 million of his shares, yeah. 8 million of his shares. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a shit ton. So, unless he's going to fix that limp, I don't know what, I don't understand.
I think he only had 29 million. So you're talking about almost a third of his shares.
That's pretty crazy. So either he's slowly just fading his way out the door, and he literally only did come back for the fucking TV rights deal and to do the sale, like everybody was saying. Is that possible? Is that possible that he was actually telling the truth and he just came back for the sales?
That man ain't never told the truth. He's fucking Hulk Hogan.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I never heard it come out of his mouth, so I can't say that he said that. This is all hearsay, obviously.
Yeah. I think it's more likely that he's just starting to get pushed out, and he was like, okay.
He doesn't like the new role he's in, huh? He don't like not being in that creative role, probably. They're like, yo, we got plans for you, Vince. You're gonna sit at his desk and write an essay, and he don't like that shit.
I think that gives up his controlling stake in it, doesn't it? Because if he's given up, because he's given up a third of the amount that he had. I'm trying to remember how many is controlling.
I don't know.
Shares.
It's not. I mean, on the surface, it looks like you said, he's on his way out. Now, I don't know if he's being
or he's
forced
going to
out,
go
or if he
start
just
another
wants to be
wrestling
out.
company.
Yeah, he just might want to be out.
Maybe he wants to go start another company. Maybe he's going to go buy NWA.
That'd be funny as hell. Talk about a full circle moment.
Because
they wouldn't sell to him before.
Yeah.
Billy
Corgan.
Let's move on. We'll move on. All right, two big signings for AEW. Two big signings for AEW in Megan Bayne and Mariah May. Mariah May debuted this week on Dynamite. Megan Bayne was on Dark and Elevation a few times, but apparently was signed for months and no one knew. And she's been on excursion in Stardom. Now, obviously, we knew she was in Stardom, but we just thought she went to fucking Stardom.
Yeah.
When Elevation and Dark got the plug pulled on them in favor of Collision and Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
But apparently she's been over there under her AEW contract the whole time. So, obviously these are two huge signings, in my opinion, is when you're looking at strictly women's division. But how big do you think they'll be? And I guess the main question I got from this is because not only do you have Megan Bayne and Mariah May going to AEW, right? You also have Kyrie coming back to WWE. Okay. Yeah. Mercedes is still out there on a paper appearance deal, and everybody's trying to figure out where the hell she's going to go. If she's going to go back to WWE and be involved in this new Damage Control storyline, or if she's going to go to AEW, obviously because of everybody's dream matches that she has over there with Hayter and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple, but I don't know if it'd be worth. Yeah. Okay. Good. Sorry.
Then of course you have All In 2 coming up as well, which is a big deal. I like the focus that is on the women's divisions and bolstering them, but does it really matter if we're not giving them more than one match a show?
Yeah, because I mean, you can still do a lot with the one match. And a lot of the problem with the women's division, it's not just the fact that they're not getting many matches; it's that there's no story behind them. So as long as they're still doing shit backstage and they're still in segments and stuff, it's still.
AEW is still sitting on Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb right now, which are two of their better wrestlers.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with Deeb. That seems weird, and I wonder if that has anything to do with the Skrull connection or something like that, where they kind of got.
Yeah, but everybody knew she had a Skrull connection before when she was in AEW, and I don't see how we can hold that against her.
I mean, who you're with is a choice. So
I agree. I agree with that. But if she made her choice to overlook or forgive, depending on how you look at it, Skrull for his actions, I'm not saying that we have to forgive Skrull because I don't. But I think it's weird. I think it's creepy. But I'm not going to hold Serena Deeb responsible for that. Like, we don't need to cancel Deeb for that. We cancel the right person for that.
We do that with Paige with her shitty boyfriend, right?
Yeah, but I don't boo Paige. I like Paige. But yeah, she has a shitty boyfriend. I'm not holding her against it. I do think she should have better taste in men. And it's not just him. It was Del Rio, too.
Yeah. Well, all I'm saying is that I don't know if that's related, but
I'm just
could be
saying,
part of it.
you're sitting on a shit ton of talent already on both companies. Both companies are pretty deep right now with women, big rosters. I'm all for bolstering them up more. Hell, go get Heidi Howitzer. I love Heidi Howitzer. She had that fucking hilarious match with Athena on Ring of Honor. I don't care if you bolster them. That's fine. But you've got to have more women's match. 2 women's matches is not asking for you to change the fucking world here. I don't think it is.
I mean, I've said this before, and I still think it's true.
I know what you're going to say, and I completely agree with what you're about to say. But I'm just
Tony Khan
saying,
just doesn't like women's
you
wrestling
care enough
much.
to hire the women to make your roster be like, so you can say, hey, look at this piece of paper. Our roster from top to bottom is amazing. It's the best women's roster in the world, but still only Impact has more than one fucking women's match.
I mean, I think he likes the women as people. I think he doesn't like. I think he wants to give them opportunities or whatever. But I just don't think he likes booking women's matches. That's what it is.
Now I will say on Collision they did have 2 women's matches if I remember correctly. Was it Collision? I watched them back to back, so I don't know.
There was
Ruby Soho versus Red Velvet was on what? Was that on Rampage?
I thought
Rampage was live this week. I watched them back to back this morning, so that's all one big show to me. But it was Ruby Soho versus Red Velvet, and then of course you had Willow versus Julia Hart on Collision.
Velvet versus Soho was on Rampage.
Okay, so it's still one women's match per show then. So I do not like that. Now on Rampage it makes sense because you only got an hour. I'm cool with that. But you can't tell me that you can sit there and have an hour show and have a women's match every week on Rampage, but then you have a 2-hour show and you can't equate that to 2 women's matches. Even if one is a squash. Even if one is fucking Nyla Rose coming out and squashing some nobody from that town that they're in, that they're going to cheer real quick and get a cheap pop, and then Nyla destroys them like Wardlow, I have no issue with that. Just have a fucking second match. I
think the thing with Nyla is they seem to only bring her out as a like random challenger for the belt. Sometimes, she's not the big bad in the video game, but she's like one of the mini bosses, like before you get to the big bad type deal. Right.
But she never wins the big matches anymore.
Yeah, they still got Taya Valkyrie sitting doing nothing. Because I'm assuming she signed, right? So
yeah, she signed. She's all elite. Taya Valkyrie sitting there. Agreed.
They have enough to do like a women's pay-per-view and shit. But yeah, you're right. They don't.
I mean, I don't need them to do a pay-per-view, but you get what I'm saying though. Like
no. But this is the problem with having like a really deep roster, I guess. What match would you have taken off of Collision for another women's match? Probably like what, the LFI versus Workhorseman one or what?
Yeah, probably. Honestly.
Yeah.
Not only I like the Workhorsemen, I don't like them with Kip Sabian. Butcher and Blade and Bunny were with Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford was far a better group stable to me.
So too. Yeah.
Fucking amazing group. I was like literally watching a fucking DC show that we were talking about earlier on CW. That was just so good together. It was great.
Yeah.
You had the henchman, you had the two women, and he was the bad guy, the main villain or whatever. Cocky, funny, had the look. It was good. It was just a good combination. I can't believe we'll talk about that later. But anyway, well, yeah, probably that match. I'd probably take that match off. Like, obviously, you're not gonna probably debut Mariah May in a match in a while because of the storyline that she's coming off with, right? Mm-hmm. Megan Bayne is overseas. That's fine. I'm cool with that. But you still are sitting on so much talent. I don't know what the hell's going on with Thunder Rosa. Still, because this 4 to 6 injury has been like fucking Bob Orton with a goddamn cast. It's never fucking gonna happen, dude. It's never gonna be healed. Like, I don't understand. But Serena Deeb sitting there, I do remember somebody saying that Serena Deeb was injured, but I don't think it was that big of an injury, or we all would have heard about it. She should have been back by now.
Well,
I feel like she should have been back.
Dave mentions in chat, there's 2 women's matches at Full Gear. Yes, that's true. That's also a 3 or 4 hour show by the end of it.
There's 2 women's matches at Full Gear. What's the...
Yeah. It's Sheeta and Tony, and then...
yeah, Sheeta and Tony, okay. And then you got the triple threat, which should be a Fatal 5-way. And I had this conversation on Twitter as well. If you're going to bring back Red Velvet and she gets the win over Ruby Soho, why are we not just having Chris Statlander go against Red Velvet, Willow, Sky Blue, and Julia Hart? Why can't I just not put them all in there? Yeah. Just put them all in there. You just had her go over Ruby just so she can lose anyway. Because she's going to lose to fucking Sky Blue. Clearly know it's going to be Sky Blue, right?
Well, yeah, because that's the way the story's going. Is that they're pushing Sky.
Just put all 5. Oh my God, just put all 5. They all deserve it. I haven't seen a better 2 return matches for a woman coming back after a long hiatus than Red Velvet in a long time, if ever. Her last two
Statlander.
matches were great.
Statlander.
Man, you can't. No, the Jade one, it was like basically a fucking squash. What are you talking about?
I mean the one at the pay-per-view.
That's her first one back.
I don't count that as the first one.
You can't count the championship win as a first match back.
No.
Shut
It was
up,
like
dude.
it was half a match after somebody already had a match. It
You
doesn't
can't count. She won the title. You can't count. You have to count that as the
That's not a
first
real
match back.
You count every Money in the Bank cash in as a real match?
That's not what that was.
That's basically what it was. It was the
Come
same
on, man.
thing.
She didn't win anything to get that. She just showed up.
That's what it was though.
She clocked in and did her job and got out. That's not a great match.
Yeah. It's
And yes, I do count those as matches. They're not good though.
okay.
I do count those.
Some of them are good. Some of them.
I just need more, bro. I just need more. I'm not asking you to do four matches and 5 segments of women on a 2-hour show or anything. I don't feel like what I'm asking for is a lot considering. And I wouldn't be asking this. I would not even be asking this if it wasn't for your roster being as stacked as it is too. That has something to do with it.
2 on Dynamite and then
if
one
your
on the
roster
week on
wasn't that
others?
good, I don't want to see fucking 3 women's matches a show. You get what I'm saying? Like it's very plausible for you with that stacked roster that you have currently, and that's only getting more stacked that we're finding out this week with Megan Bayne and Mariah May, to have 2 fucking matches. You found out a way to fucking the last 2 years put Anna Jay and the Bunny in a tag team match that fucking blew the fucking roof off both times when they were in street fights or whatever, and then never used them again as a tag team for the rest of the year. Why can't we just keep that running?
Well,
on a more consistent basis, I mean.
Yeah.
You can throw a fucking tag team match out there and involve more of your women. You got Amy Sakura sitting fucking there.
What's your ideal
My ideal setup for women's matches, right?
Yeah.
Is this.
Like 2 on Dynamite?
1 women's match on Rampage, 2 for Collision, 2 for Dynamite. And then 3 for the pay-per-views, but 1 could be on the pre-show.
Okay.
I don't think that's too much to ask. I really don't.
I mean, that does almost double what they're doing now, so there you go. I mean, kind of, because they did just do 1 each on Rampage and Collision. But yeah, for typical weeks.
Like, even if it's Athena Ring of Honor women's title defense on the pre-show, I'm cool with that too. I just want to see more of the women that are doing fucking really well. Just like I want to see more of Dalton Castle. I want to see as much Dalton Castle as possible. I sure the hell don't want to see him lose to Nick Wayne, of all people. But whatever. If I can see more Dalton Castle, I'm all for it. I'm the same way with the women. Like, Athena has been fucking killing it. And we've seen her wrestle 1 time on AEW TV when all the other champions, and AEW TV, by the way, is literally a pre-show for a fucking 0 hour. And everybody else is all over the fucking place.
I will say about the Athena thing, though, is that keeping her separated like they have makes her seem like super fucking dominant.
If they're going to do that,
ROH.
if they're going to do that with their other champions, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Because Eddie Kingston hasn't been seen in a while, right? Samoa Joe just vacated the title. So maybe whoever the new Ring of Honor champion is for the TV title will stay more on Ring of Honor instead of coming over too. Because Samoa Joe is probably the most prominent Ring of Honor champion over on AEW TV. Besides Claudio before him, when Claudio had the world title. If you're going to actually separate them and keep them over there like they're doing with Shibata and Athena, then yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm very okay with that.
I would say MJF is probably their most prominent right now.
Nah. Anyway, I think this is really good for the division. I just want to see the division displayed better on fucking weekly TV. That's all. The roster is stacked. It's stacked. It's not 2006 SmackDown roster stacked, but it's stacked.
Stop. Remember how stacked that roster was?
Remember how stacked 2006 SmackDown was? All right, anyway. Speaking of...
And it's literally just like John Cena, Orton, and Edge.
Rey Mysterio's on there.
Yeah.
Don't forget Rey.
Don't forget Rey.
And Batista, I think, was on there too.
I
mean, it was stacked, but it's not as stacked as everybody claims it to be, though.
It's not as much as AEW is.
You got fucking like what? You got Trevor Murdoch and Lance Cade in the background. Like, that's not stacked, bro. All right. So anyway, what's next for Butcher, Blade, and Bunny? Obviously, Bunny. It's been confirmed that he has parted ways with AEW. We don't feel like Butcher and Blade are too far behind. Although Ryan did tell me that they are back on the roster page, correct?
Yeah, they were briefly off the roster page, and then they were back.
Was it kind of like briefly, like the Young Bucks are no longer EVPs for? I
know why that was the case. It's because they had the belt, the trios belt for them, from ROH in that same slot, instead of EVP, then they lost the belt. So whoever runs the website deleted that and then never
and
put
didn't
back
replace
in
the EVP.
EVP.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
all right.
that's all it was.
So anyway, so you talked about a little bit about this with me in text message form when this news came out, and you said that you think she'll go back to Impact is the best option for them, and it would definitely be the best option for her if she brought Butcher and Blade along with her, because they could run roughshod over that tag division and look like beasts. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Well, that, and I think she could do something with Rosemary. She's still over there, right?
Yeah, Rosemary's still there.
Yeah, so they could pick that back up. They used to have a thing. So, yeah, TNA makes the most sense. I don't think. I mean, obviously they're not going.
And
to
they're all,
NWA.
I believe they're all, well, Bunny and Blade are Canadian.
Yes.
And the operations of Impact is mostly Canadian now. So that would work too. I'm pretty sure Anthem is a Canadian company. And
yeah,
then
but
Scott
they
D'Amore
still
is
run
Canadian
mostly
as well.
US, don't they? So it's not like.
I mean, they run a lot of shit in Canada there. A lot of their shows are in Canada.
Yeah,
We're not talking about the Asylum in Nashville or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I'm more thinking about like tag division wise. Obviously, if they went to TNA,
I mean, you're talking about, when we think about this, let's just group them all three together and say that they're not far behind.
Okay.
I agree with you that Impact is, or TNA, I guess we can start calling them now again. TNA is the ideal spot because not only will they get time, and not only does their cachet from AEW, even though they weren't getting a lot of wins, it would hold more weight there. But then I feel like it'd be easier for them to come back to AEW if Tony Khan keeps tabs on them, be like, oh man, they're fucking killing it over there. I got an idea that would work great for them. Let me see if they want to come back or whatever. I think that works out perfectly for them. I think if they go to NXT or WWE, they'll be watered down, kind of like the Viking Raiders.
That, or they'll end up in the grizzled young veteran spot where they're around, everybody knows that they're good, but then
they're older, so they're just going to put over younger guys all the time. Yeah, I agree with that too.
Speaking of them, where are they going?
Who?
Because grizzled young veterans. Because I've seen.
They're everywhere. Dude, they're wrestling all over Europe right now. I don't know where they're going to go for like their next stop where they're going to stay for a while, but they are everywhere right now. They are literally wrestling anyone. They're like Cody when he left WWE. They got a list, bro.
Drew McIntyre.
I'm telling you, they're everywhere right now. It's crazy.
I think John Silver posted a picture of the Dark Order and then those two all together backstage somewhere. So I don't know where they were together at, but yeah, they're around. No, TNA at this point, they've built up enough credibility to where if you want to be like a big fish in a smaller pond, it does make sense to go there. So I can see them going there.
And they're signing people right now.
Yep.
So maybe they had some talks with Scott D'Amore already, possibly.
Maybe. I mean, when it's not like Bunny got released because her contract ran up. She asked for her release and was given it. So obviously she wants to do something, whatever it is. And I would be surprised if that something wasn't TNA, because I just don't see WWE reaching out to her and being like, "Hey, do you want?" Like, it's not like, it's not like she's a bad wrestler or anything, but it's not like she's been doing anything so crazy that would be someone that they reach out to specifically. I don't feel like, because she hasn't been utilized. Not
just that. It's not like she's bad or anything, because obviously she killed it in both of those street fights. But just because if you look at WWE bringing in who they brought back Nia Jax, they brought in Jade Cargill, they brought in Kairi Sane. Are they really still in the market for buying unless your name is Mercedes?
Right. Yeah, I would assume it's TNA.
All right, let's talk about probably the biggest news of Collision, at least in my opinion. It's the Continental Classic, baby. Let's fucking go.
You know what's crazy? Why didn't they have an announcement
for this shit forever?
Why was there no announcement that there was an announcement?
Yeah, he trolled you. He told you all. He didn't announce an announcement for an announcement. He got you all.
But that was actually that would be one that's big enough to be like, we have an important announcement.
Loved it. He said, you know what? You don't want no more announcements for announcements? If you won't watch the show, you're going to miss a fucking announcement now. So fuck you. That's great. And the announcement was great. Continental Classic, which is their version of the G1 round robin tournament, 12 people, 6 people in each league or group or whatever. I think he used the word league. And it will culminate at the new December pay-per-view World's End. So yeah, round robin style tournament, and it starts on Dynamite this week, I believe, as well. And I've been saying I hope that they just created their own G1 every time we started talking about fucking Bryan Danielson going over to do a G1. I was like, why don't they just create their own? They got enough fucking people. And yet, here we are. And you want to do it on his fucking last year of wrestling. So we can go ahead and say
he's
that
injured. What are we doing here?
Fucking injured. Hell, this man, he announced Danielson for All In 2. You think he wasn't supposed to be at All In 1? What makes you think he's going to not be injured at All In 2 going into All In 2? After this tournament, you're just going to give him the rest of the fucking time off until we get to September?
Well, that's the crazy thing, too. It's like, okay, Danielson has a broken orbital bone right now. By the way, he's going to be in our version of the G1. After that, he's going to be wrestling at Wrestle Kingdom against Okada again. And then, yeah, by the way, we're promising he's going to be good for like All In 2. They're running this man ragged.
Promising he's going to be at All In 2 is ballsy. I'm just going to throw that out there. Anyway, let me go ahead. Let me finish this real quick. Okay, so my only reservations about this is because I am worried somewhat that it won't be as stacked as the G1 is as far as talent goes. When they had, well, not when they branched out, when they got so many people now that you can throw in a Toriano and Honda and shit like that.
What the hell's wrong with Toriano?
And other people that you know is not going to win type deal. But before, when the G1 was, fucking 12 people, 16 people, 8 people, whatever, and it was fucking stacked. You're seeing Okada, Tanahashi, Naito, Omega, all in the same fucking, like, half of them are all, like, dudes that you're like, holy shit, who's going to win this? AEW should not have this problem. They should have a stacked 12-person roster. It shouldn't be the case at all that we have to think about this. But if you looked at some of their past battle royals and shit like that, that gives me reason to pause. It was nice to not see any disappointment on social media for what the announcement was. Agree. Like, everybody is on board with this. Now, I will say that will end if they come out there and fucking say Chuck Taylor is in this. I'm just letting you know. People will be getting pissed if you don't. I like Chuck Taylor. Don't start your shit. I'm just saying that we know Chuck Taylor's not winning the fucking Continental Classic. He don't want to be one of the 12 guys. Is all I'm saying. I love Chuck Taylor. Chucky T, baby.
You don't know. He could turn it up.
But that's not who we want in this. That's not.
I think he's injured right now anyway. But
yeah, I'm just saying. Well, I don't want Darby in it either.
I don't either. That was the one that okay. So when Tiger Style Pro posted his 12, that's the one I switched out.
Who'd you switch him out for?
Jeff Jarrett, baby.
Oh my God. No, he's not at mine either. Oh my God, that's so bad. That's so bad. Let me find what mine were. Real quick. We're going to fantasy book this. Let's fantasy book it. All right, we're going to switch over. Monster fantasy booking for the Continental Classic. Okay. So do you have any reservations about who they're going to use in this?
I think there's no way to book it with 12 guys that you think all have an equal chance of winning. I'll say that.
I do. Not with the fucking social media fan base out here. No, because they'll be bitching about every little fucking thing. Especially because AEW doesn't like to book DQs, countouts, shit like that. They like to book straight up finishes for the most part, especially in this style type stuff. Like you don't really see a lot of countouts or DQs in tournaments, and they've had a lot of tournaments. But I guess I could point to the Owen Hart Foundation this last year too. Like we knew who the fuck the final two were going to be when they announced those brackets. Like I don't want that. I don't want you to. I do not want to see Danielson and fucking 5 Nick Waynes in his bracket, and then I'm just being real. And 5 Nick Waynes in his bracket, and then on the other side, I see like Hangman Page and 5 AR Foxes in his bracket. I just don't want to see that because you know who's going to win. I want there to be let me find mine. I'm not throwing shade at any of those dudes. I'm just saying where they're positioned at on the card and stuff like that.
Yeah,
currently is obviously into this. Now I do have a couple. Where the fuck is my shit? Oh, here we go. Group A. Now I do have a couple that I threw in there, like a Yano and a Honda. They're not comedy wrestlers, but
there's nothing wrong with Yano. I don't know why you keep saying Yano. Okay, Yano.
They could because Yano always starts off strong and then just fizzles out. That's why. So
he's got an endurance problem. It doesn't mean he's not a good wrestler.
Okay, well I don't know if any of these dudes are gonna have endurance problems. But I got Group A. I've got Roosh, Brian Cage, Swerve, Adam Page, Claudio, and Dalton Castle. Okay.
So you don't think Page fits as one of the guys that you just know immediately isn't going to win?
No. I could easily see him losing to Claudio Roosh. He's had a crazy trilogy with Brian Cage. He just lost to Swerve last pay-per-view. Yeah, he could easily rack up losses in that group.
No, that's what I'm saying. Cage, you're putting him in as somebody that you know isn't going to win. I'm saying all 12
I just said that I did put two people in.
I see that. But listen, why wouldn't you have 12 people, because they can do this, 12 people that all could win? Because if you put Cage in there, he's not going to win.
Listen, this is how I did it, okay? I'm going to answer this question. This was critical thinking. Who is involved with minor storylines without titles? I added into this. Who I've missed that should be highlighted more? You'll see that, like a Brian Cage, for instance. And who are currently not already vying for the world title, like Omega just did, like Samoa Joe is currently doing, like Wardlow's going after. I didn't include any of those guys.
But I think it makes sense to put those guys in because then that gives them a storyline reason to have a shot at
No, I don't agree with that because they're already in a major storyline for the world title. That's an ongoing thing with MJF, whereas these guys are like right below that and deserve to be on a weekly fucking TV basis. In my group B, Danielson, Miro, Andrade, Hobbs, Scorpio Sky, and Lance Archer.
Scorpio Sky.
Yes, someone that can go, that can steal wins from other people, and that is not featured prominently enough on TV.
Okay.
I almost threw Sean Spears in there too, but I didn't know who I wanted to take out.
Mine would be Danielson, obviously.
You can't just throw Danielson, Omega, Jay White. That's not how this works. Jay White's already fighting.
Doesn't matter.
Fucking full gear for the title. You have to put some kind of fucking actual thought process into this. And you're not going to have Omega and Jay White go in there and then not come out.
Why not?
Because you can only have two people come out.
I understand that.
That's not, you're not going to just.
That's how it is in the G1 too. You got Naito and fucking people not coming out of that sometimes
That's not how that's going to work. Okay, so.
How many G1s have you watched?
First, a lot.
And so have I. And I can tell you, they have really high guys in there that don't necessarily come out.
And they don't have really high guys in there. And you're trying to do all high guys, which is you can't do.
Yes, you can. But here's the thing, too.
You're telling me that none of these dudes deserve to be in this fucking tournament?
I wouldn't put Scorpio Sky in there, and it's not anything to do with him. It's just they haven't been booking him to do shit lately.
That's my point.
Nah,
why shouldn't they book him, though?
Because it's a Continental Classic.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, my point is that I think right now, I can tell you right now, Danielson's winning this fucking thing. I'd put all my money on Danielson winning this. There's no way you're going to have your first ever one, and you know he's not coming back for any future ones because this is his last year in wrestling. I already think that this is phoned in. That Danielson's winning.
This is his last full-time year in wrestling.
He's not coming back just to wrestle a fucking round robin tournament, dude. That's not how that works.
He might.
That's not how that works.
He might.
You know what he could do? The next Continental Classic, whoever wins the whole fucking thing, then he comes out and be like, you should put your Continental Classic thing on the line against me since I won the first one. And then just come back for the one match instead of doing the whole fucking round robin.
Trying to skip the line. So mine, I've got Danielson, Swerve, Hangman, Cassidy, Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, I'm not putting Cassidy in because he's the current international champion. Just can't do it. Almost put Penta in. I really wanted to put Penta in. In fact, if I took Scorpio Sky out, I would put Penta in his spot.
Okay, but again, when we're comparing it to the G1, their secondary champions are always in the G1. So what do you mean?
Yes, but I wouldn't do that here because your roster is more stacked than New Japan.
But the reason that you do it is to set up matches for that secondary title after
these matches are already set up that I have in here. That's why I have fucking Swerve, Adam Page, and Brian Cage all in the same bracket, and then on the other one I've got Miro and Andrade all in the same bracket. And who doesn't want to see Miro and Hobbs again in a meat fest again? That's why they're in the same bracket.
All right, so I got Danielson, Swerve, Hangman, Cassidy, Jeff Jarrett, Miro, and then Omega, Roosh, Claudio, Jay White.
Omega is not doing this. I promise you. I'd be shocked if Omega's name pops up in this.
Yeah,
shocked.
He lost his match against MJF, so now he's got to find a way to get back to the belt.
I'd be excited, but then I'd be like, instant Danielson and Omega at the same time in a fucking G1 style tournament.
That's
and if it's as stacked as you want it to be, they're going to get fucked up in this thing. These two people that are known for injuries lately. That's not a good combo.
That's why they're
maybe neither one of them make it to the final because they're both hurt. They're going to have to fucking... Is he going to pull him out like the New Japan does and then just not even replace him? Just pull him off the motherfucker?
No, this is why I have them in opposite blocks. And then that'll be the final.
If they can't get to the final,
they'll be all right.
oh my god, okay. Okay.
Who's gonna hurt Danielson, man? Cassidy?
Everyone that you put in there. That's why because you just stacked it from fucking top to bottom as all main event dudes. Is what you just did.
A-Block's not. No, listen. A-Block is not anybody that's gonna hurt Danielson. It's Danielson, Swerve, Hangman, Cassidy, Jeff Jarrett.
Hangman is not gonna hurt him.
No, he'll be all right.
Okay. Fucking Andrade just hurt him with the same type of move that Hangman does as a finisher.
He'll be all right.
Okay, guy.
Andrade is not.
He hit him right across the face with a clothesline and fucked him up.
That's different.
But Hangman can't do that. Andrade
is much stronger.
Dude. Andrade's in my shit. Imagine me seeing 3 straight Andrade matches against him and Lance Archer, him versus Hobbs, and him versus Miro. 3 straight matches. Holy shit! And then he gets to fight Danielson again too. Oh my god, dude!
If I don't put in Jeff Jarrett,
that's how Andrade comes out of my group B, because he just destroys everyone and breaks all their faces.
If I don't put in Jeff Jarrett, because I know that some people will be.
You don't need to be putting Jeff Jarrett into a round robin tournament. If it was a regular, like Owen, I wanted him in the Owen Hart tournament, if you remember correctly. Remember, I wanted him versus Dustin in the first round because they actually both had direct connections to Owen Hart. That would have been that would have been cool with me. In a round robin tournament, dude, no, not a chance.
If I were to replace Jarrett, it would probably be with Archer or Andrade. I don't know which one yet, but I like putting Jarrett in there.
Who's coming out of your 2 groups? Omega and Danielson.
Omega and Danielson, yeah.
And then who you got winning the whole thing?
I don't know. Depends on a lot of things.
I'm surprised you didn't put Ospreay in there. Why is the Ospreay not in there? We can have people from other companies. If we can send our people over there, Moxley and Eddie Kingston over there, why didn't you put Ospreay in yours?
He's not technically with AEW yet, and I don't know what those obligations look like. Yeah. I think it's a bit harder to get people to come do.
You think this first one will just be more traditional, and maybe he'll do that later down the line type deal?
What, bring in some New Japan guys?
Yeah, maybe.
Get them over for like a month or 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't benefit them if it benefited New Japan. Like with the relationship that they have, be like, hey, send a couple people to your G1. You can send a couple people to when we have our Continental Classic thing, like a Shingo or a Ishii. I'd be cool with that. So now let's redo it now with New Japan dudes.
Oh, it's
so now we're adding Okada and Naito and Ospreay. We're adding all these dudes in there.
So this thing is like at the pay-per-view is like the very, very, very back end.
December 30th. Correct.
Yeah.
December 30th.
We're looking at like a month and a half.
Of straight wrestling, yes. He was like announcing all the dates and shit during the thing or whatever. But it's gonna be like from this week to the rest of the year, it's gonna have Continental Classic matches. It's gonna be insane. Yeah. I assume that they'll be replacing the rankings page with the results of this, like the stats or standings or whatever.
Mm-hmm. But that's speaking of the rankings, that's kind of what I was getting at with bringing up like putting Wardlow or Samoa Joe or whoever in this, is that Samoa Joe, his storyline does lead to him having a good reason for a shot. If MJF asks him for help in the tag match, they do it, then he owes Joe a shot or whatever. But Wardlow doesn't really have like a good claim to a championship match. So if you do put him in something like this, it still makes sense. You can say, oh, he's already involved in a story or whatever. He is in the story, but he doesn't have a good storyline reason for Tony to book him in the match. So that's what I was getting at with, just because
I mean, it's MJF. All you have to do is piss off MJF enough, and he'll give you like 3 things that you have to do to fight him. That's how that story always goes. So what are you talking about?
Yeah,
that's all you have to do. Keep pissing MJF off. To the point where he gets so pissed, like, oh, you want a piece of me? Okay, well, you can have a shot at the world title if you do A, B, C, and then Wardlow goes out and does it, and then he does it.
And then you have to, that weird shit. Yeah.
All right, that's our fantasy booking of the Continental Classic. A rough booking idea. I can't wait to see it though. I really wish he would, like, you want to really fucking troll people with that announcement that was not announced as an announcement. You should have told us all 12 of the dudes. That would have fucked people up. Like, that was just so much. That would have been so much information to process at one time. I thought it would have been hilarious if you just literally announce a stacked roster like what me or you were saying.
Oh, we're going to know in what? 3 days?
People would have been like, what the fuck? Hey, you already know that it's starting this week. I do not want to go. When we go into a G1, do you not know all the participants that are going to be in the G1?
That's what I'm saying. We're going to know in 3 days.
Wednesday is not that far away. Can we get the groups, please? No. I don't want to see the first match and then you throw up the group after the first match is over and like, okay, what the fuck? What? This is the group?
Take a
I'm
picture of the
pissed.
TV real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, pause it. I might screenshot that shit.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on. Or let's do a monster quiz. You ready for some monster quiz time? Hot tag topics is over. Let's do monster quiz, bro. All right, so let's give you your not your prediction championship. That's mine. Let's do your where is your title at? I get rid of your title. Oh, there it is. Quiz champion. Let's talk about it. You are currently 14-6. This is question number 21. Are you ready for this? This is, I don't remember if this is, oh, okay. This is based off of Survivor Series, which is coming up soon. And because it was the 26th anniversary of the 1997 Survivor Series, obviously infamously known for the Montreal Screwjob earlier this week.
Mm-hmm.
Here is the question. How many people on that specific pay-per-view are currently contracted to AEW in 2023? Is it A, 3, B, 5, or C, 7?
97.
I'm gonna start playing some Jeopardy music during this segment when it's a lot of dead air. I gotta get the Jeopardy theme or something. I don't know. That might be copyrighted. Might not be able to do that. Maybe I'll just record me doing the Jeopardy theme.
Well, I'm thinking about who was around in 97. Like, for all we talk about old people coming to AEW, like, I don't remember if, like, were the Hardys around in 97? Like, that's where I'm at. I'm like, because they're, and then I'm thinking like backstage people, you know, like fucking, what was Jerry Lynn doing in 97? But I don't think it's
Jerry Lynn in 97 was still in ECW, my guy.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I just, because contracted.
Actually, he might have been in WCW as Mr. JL in 97, actually.
Mm-hmm. Trying to think of all the 97. So WCW takeover wasn't until like what, 2000, and then so wouldn't be him. I mean, even like Taz and shit weren't there yet. So who the fuck?
You can do this, bro. You can do this.
I'm trying to think of all their oldest people.
You got this. I feel like you can do this.
I mean, I've got a couple, but I don't. If I had 4, I would probably guess 5. But I've got 3, but I don't know if 3 is right. So I don't want to just. If I'm trying to think of one fucking more.
Got you. So you're ruling 7 out completely. Then we can assume that.
I don't think it's 7. I think it'd be easier to point at 7 of them.
You can do this, bro.
Fuck. I know I've got 3 in my head, but I'm probably just missing 2, and that's why I'm kind of torn. I'm gonna say 5, but if it's just 3, I'll probably be kind of annoyed.
Yeah! 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 Yeah!
You got it, bro. It is 5.
Yeah.
Here we go. Who's the 3 that you had?
Nah, just give me the 5.
You think you might not even be right with the 3?
Yeah.
So you just guessed. So what? You got it right. Who were the 3 that you got though?
I think Edge was 1.
No.
He wasn't there yet?
Nope.
I thought he was like really
he wasn't on
early,
the pay-per-view.
like.
He wasn't on the pay-per-view.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if he was there yet, but he's not on the pay-per-view. All right, here we go.
Well, then, okay.
Billy Gunn.
Okay.
Dustin Rhodes as Goldust,
Right.
Obviously.
Yep.
Jim Ross, obviously.
Fucking didn't even think about him. Okay.
Kevin Kelly.
Didn't think about him.
And you probably didn't think about this last one either. Don Callis as Cyrus.
So funnily enough, I did have Don Callis, but only because I don't remember if you would post it or somebody else had posted it, but they had posted that, and obviously this wasn't WWF or WWE or whatever, but it made me think about him because of what he was doing at the time. Was it you that posted that thing with
I retweeted it and said he was the real menace of the video with Bubba Ray Dudley. Yes,
the Dudleys. Yeah. Okay. So I actually did have him in mind. I had Edge, Goldust, and Don Callis. I didn't even fucking think about JR or Billy Gunn, honestly. So
yeah,
whatever.
So it is Billy Gunn, Don Callis, Dustin Rhodes, Jim Ross, and Kevin Kelly were the 5 that were actually contracted at that show that are now currently still contracted, or that are also now currently contracted in AEW. That's crazy. But yeah, you got it right anyway. So that is correct. We'll give you the 15 and 6. Sometimes you just need to blindly guess. You'll get it right sometimes. Be all right. There's only 3 options. It's not that hard.
Entirely blind.
I'm gonna start giving you a fucking time limit though.
Yeah. It takes me some time to work through stuff.
All right, let's talk Shooter Kayfabe Samoa Joe edition. Let me get your title off of there. You got enough. You got your 15 seconds.
Thank you.
Fame here. Quiz champion. Get that off there. All right. Samoa Joe Shooter Kayfabe edition. Let's do it. There it is. Shoot or Kayfabe. That is obviously like true or false in case anyone doesn't know. True or false? Samoa Joe should have dropped the title to Keith Lee instead of vacating it. Shoot or Kayfabe.
Shoot. I don't know why the fuck they did it that way. I understand it makes him look cooler, but it made Keith Lee look worse. And I feel like if you want to tell the story that Joe is done with the TV title and wants to go after bigger shit, you can do that off of a loss. You can just be like, yeah, it's because my focus isn't on this shit right now. It's on MJF and
yeah,
whatever.
Yes, I agree with that. You could have said that your focus wasn't on the TV title because you're going after you want a shot at MJF shit. I agree with that part.
I think you could have done that 100% fine. It wouldn't have derailed from the MJF story at all. And also it would have given Joe more of a reason to be trying to do the deal with MJF doing the tag shit or whatever, because if he had just lost, then obviously he wouldn't have as much claim to a world title shot, blah, blah, blah. I think there were a lot better ways to do this that didn't make Keith Lee look bad, that didn't make the belt itself look like who gives a shit about it. Yeah, I know people really like this because it made Joe look cool, but there's ways to do this that I think probably would have been better overall, yeah.
All right, you know what would have been funnier than me, though? If he would have vacated before the match started and really pissed off Keith Lee. Like, Keith Lee think he's getting a Ring of Honor TV title shot, and then he vacates it before? That's never happened. That would be fucking hilarious. And then Keith Lee still has to have the match because it's already signed. That would be fucking hilarious, dude. All right, anyway, next up, Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe should be MJF's partner at Full Gear, Shooter Kayfabe.
What tag team are they going against?
They're going against the Guns, I'm pretty sure.
Right? Yeah. Shoot. I mean, you have to give a reason for Joe to get a title shot, so this is fine. I'm fine with it.
And finally, Shooter Kayfabe, Samoa Joe should beat MJF at AEW's December pay-per-view, World's End.
It's funny because his contract negotiations are coming up in January of 2024, which we all know. And I'm wondering if the whole reason for setting up a title match with him on the 30th is so that, like, if they haven't reached any kind of deal by then or any sort of agreement or whatever,
that title Ric Flair style, yes.
Yeah, you have whoever he's against at that title that match like 2 days before the shit starts. Just straight up like, yeah, you're not gonna win.
If Samoa Joe wins on December 30th, can you imagine the internet meltdown of everybody just assuming that he's going to WWE? Yeah. Oh my god.
I don't know. I don't have a real answer on that one because it just depends on the contract negotiations. I would book it around the contract negotiations.
Let's say the contract negotiations did not exist and your book just purely booking. Samoa Joe should beat him or MJF should keep it?
That's hard too, because who wins the Continental Classic also plays into that too.
Well, I don't think that would play into it unless they have a January pay-per-view.
It
Plays
plays
into it until Revolution, unless they announce a January pay-per-view.
It plays
At least
into it
that's what I'm
because
thinking. I'm thinking the winner of the Continental Classic gets a world title shot at whatever the next pay-per-view is after World's End.
it plays into it because who has the belt matters when we're talking about who's going for it coming out of the Continental Classic. So there's matches.
I don't think that matters with MJF or Samoa Joe because they don't have a problem fighting baby faces or heels.
I think it does. I think that doing certain matches wouldn't really be as interesting to me, depending on who wins it.
If we think Danielson is winning it, I will gladly watch Danielson versus Samoa Joe or Danielson versus MJF.
I don't necessarily think that Danielson is winning it though.
I think Sting should be in it and he should win the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I bet you do.
I think he should win it and then drop it at Revolution.
Was you complaining about fucking Jeff Jarrett? Shut up.
Don't start your shit with me. I've been on the Sting bandwagon ever since they brought his ass in there and said that he should be winning titles over there.
I've been on the Jeff Jarrett bandwagon since 1996. Okay, shut up.
96? That man started wrestling in the fucking early 80s. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Maybe
but I
even
wasn't
70s.
old enough to know.
Then you ain't on the bandwagon.
That's a long ass bandwagon.
I don't think it's as long as you think.
I don't think 96 is as long as I think.
I'm saying not as long as the fucking late 70s, yeah.
It's like, what, 27 years?
So kayfabe then. You don't think Samoa Joe should beat MJF?
Not necessarily. I would say with caveats.
hurt and I'm
Because,
old
like,
and
let's say
fucking tired.
Jay White. See Jay White versus MJF, then I would, like...
Jay White is not winning at Full Gear. Not, and AEW is not known for booking 2 world title matches, 3 matches back to back. So you think he's gonna, and he's clearly not gonna be in the Continental Classic. So what are you talking about?
No, I'm saying if he wins the Continental Classic, because I have him in it. That's
Jay
what
White's not going to be in the Continental Classic.
He's been in G1s. He's done fine.
That's not how this is about to work at all. Juice might be in it, but Jay White ain't going to be in it.
See, this goes back to their roster so stacked. Why are you putting in people that you know aren't going to win?
Jay White's not going to be in it. He's wrestling at Full Gear.
I understand that. But they don't necessarily have to have matches from his block in it.
Oh my God. Anyway, I am kind of curious if they're going to how many matches of the Continental Classic they'll have at Full Gear, if any. Maybe one for the 0 Hour or something.
Maybe.
I guess it depends on who's in it.
Claudio versus Roosh. But you probably don't think you probably don't think Cesaro's going to be in it either, or Claudio.
I have Claudio in mind. What are you talking about?
Okay, well then why would? Yeah, that's probably what I would put on 0 Hour then. Claudio versus.
I have Andrade. Well, they're in different groups. Andrade versus Roosh, both coming out of the groups and going against each other. How about that, motherfucker?
Can't put Grand Metalik in there.
You know what? I don't agree with the Grand Metalik thing, right? Like, I really don't. But someone said that Commander's a better wrestler than Grand Metalik anyway, and I was like, no, he's not. I like Commander. I really do. But he's not better than Grand Metalik. I don't give a damn what nobody says.
Not. He does flashier shit now in his young age, but I wouldn't say he's a better wrestler than Grand Metalik at all. No.
I will say that tag team match was fire as fuck though. Them and FTR. That was a good match.
What's the okay? Because I don't think you had a problem with him saying that he didn't want to.
No, I have a problem with him saying that he didn't want to go over. I have a problem with that.
Oh, okay.
I have a problem with the person saying that, it doesn't matter, Commander's better than Grand Metalik at wrestling anyway. That's what I have a problem with. That's person on Twitter, not I have an issue with Grand Metalik saying that. You are in no position, Jonathan Gresham, to say that you're not going to drop this match to Commander because you had already wrestled him once and lost to him on Ring of Honor or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, that seems weird to me. I wasn't a fan of that.
I mean, unless he just doesn't get along with Commander and felt rubbed the wrong way or something, possibly, which I guess is possible. Could you imagine somebody in WCW back in the day saying, "No, I'm not going to job to Blitzkrieg"? And it's not really. I mean,
depends on
you
who
say
it was.
job, just go put this person over. I would say because it's not like you're going to get squashed. When somebody says, "You got a job to somebody," I'm thinking squash match, not a competitive match, and then you just end up losing. I don't see what the issue is with that.
And they could have booked it in a way where it was they could have booked like a roll up or whatever. There's ways to do it where it doesn't make Metalik look bad.
You
it just
really
seems weird.
Cost yourself a place in AEW with that though.
Yeah,
You're not
I mean,
signed to AEW, Metallic. Metallic is not signed to AEW. Why are you denying putting someone over for a company that you're not even signed to? Wouldn't you,
that
wouldn't you
could
be
be part of it
trying to
too.
get signed to this company and doing everything that they ask you to do?
No, but that could be part of his argument too, right? Because he's like, well, I don't want to take losses while I'm not signed, and then it
Oh,
makes
I'm
me look worse
sorry.
while I'm.
I'm sorry. I must have forgot the huge run that he had in WWE.
Well, it's not. We're not talking about WWE. We're talking about Mexican promotions or TNA or whatever. It doesn't look great.
It matters. That's the same shit. You cannot have a problem with losing to AEW, but not having a problem with how they fucking made you lose almost every match in WWE.
Okay. I was yes, but he was under contract in WWE, so it's not the same thing. Like what I'm saying is that if he's looking at some of these bookings as this is how I will build my portfolio to sell myself to get a contract somewhere, then I don't necessarily want to lose to Commander.
I see what you're saying. I still disagree though. Okay. Let's move on to some more let's move on to some positive stuff. How about that?
Yeah, okay.
Oh wait. No, first I'm late on my thing. I gotta do this. I gotta do Jack to the drawing board. You ready for this? This is my first edition, and then we'll end with positive stuff if I remember. Jack to the drawing board. Let's do it. All right, I apologize. I don't know why that was so loud, but I hit the audio mixer as soon as I was like, why the hell is this thing red? Anyway, Jack to the drawing board. Top 5 women's pay-per-view matches of 2023 thus far. This is WWE NXT, AEW, Ring of Honor, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, which obviously is I'm just talking about the women's matches that were featured on New Japan. So Battle in the Valley, Wrestle Kingdom 17, not Stardom, because I don't have a vast Stardom watching library here, so I'm not going to throw those in there, so don't crucify me for not having them in. I'm literally prefacing this top 5 by saying I'm not including Stardom. You cannot get on me for this. All right, top 5. Let's do this. Number 5. We've got Bianca Belair versus Io Sky at WWE Backlash. I gave it 4 stars. So there it is right there. Actually, hold on. Give me a second. And I'll tell you why. All right, sorry about that. Here we go. So I'm going to tell you guys why I gave this, or gave it 4 stars, and it's number 5 of the year, okay? But anyway, Jack to the drawing board, basically, let me set this up, is where I will give my hot take on a specific category in wrestling via ranking system. And we'll have, I got Ryan in the bottom corner here, so you can see his reaction and see how bad this shit is. Starting at number 5, we got this one, 4 stars. The fans in attendance were heavily invested all night long in Puerto Rico, and it was no different here as they cheered the heel Io Sky. This is Io's best match so far in WWE up to that point. I felt like it was more of a I'm here moment for Io, and Bianca definitely helped showcase that. Io later won the Money in the Bank briefcase and successfully cashed in, but this was the match that I believe gave her the confidence. Gave management the confidence, I should say, going into that. To actually, like, you know, cash in and win the fucking title and all that. Like, they felt comfortable because of the reaction that she got. So you agree with that one? Don't agree with that one? What's the deal?
I mean, it's hard to say that I agree with anything before I know what the other ones are. If you want me to talk about,
that makes sense. Let's do number 4 then. Number 4, I gave it 4.25 to Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus at WWE Payback.
Okay.
Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus. These two ladies absolutely beat the hell out of each other for 20 minutes inside of a cage. This is easily Trish's best match since coming back from retirement for all the women's all women's pay-per-view Evolution until today. Meltzer rated the match 4 stars. I went slightly higher as I believe they both overperformed from what I expected going in. What holds this back from being even higher to me is the fact that Zoe Stark interfered in a match that was specifically announced to keep her from messing with the outcome. Even though, in the end, Becky still won, it still took me out of it from that standpoint. Also, even though Lynch picked up the victory for the record books, Trish proved to a lot of people that even at 47 years old, she should still be considered among the greats in the history of WWE women's wrestling. All right, number 3. We've got Mercedes Moné versus Kairi Sane at Battle in the Valley, New Japan. 4.5 stars. I thought 20 minutes in a cage was crazy. Try beating the hell out of each other for over 26 minutes with Joshi-style pro wrestling. Mercedes had an insane outing, and in this match proved that she was right to bet on herself. If we are speaking candidly, so did Kairi, who also left WWE after being poorly misused in a lot of fans' eyes. They tore the house down, and people from everywhere came out to watch this match that ended up being worth buying the pay-per-view alone. CM Punk from AEW, Bayley from WWE, and more showed up backstage just to watch this match. This match proves that you should always bet on yourself, especially when the entire world knows you're better than what is being portrayed on TV. That goes for Mercedes and Kairi Sane. All right, number 2, 4.75 for Athena versus Willow Nightingale at Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor. 20 minutes, main event, Ring of Honor Women's World Title, Athena, Willow. Need I say more? Both ladies doing the best work of their careers at that point. Athena even evolving it further now with Billy Starks. But at this point, she was on a rampage to prove to everyone that she was the best and the forever Ring of Honor Women's Champion. And by the way, at the time of this ranking, she still holds it. Athena picked up the win in probably the closest match that she's had as champion so far, as a lot of people picked Willow to win that match and thought it was her time. A lot of throwbacks to previous influences and Ring of Honor women's wrestlers of the past sprinkled in, and 2 ladies on top of their game creating magic on the biggest stage ever for women in Ring of Honor history, the main event of a pay-per-view. It was a fantastic match. And number 1, 5 stars, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair, WWE WrestleMania 39 Night 1. 2 ladies that kicked each other hard and hit each other in the face even harder. The chemistry between Rhea and Charlotte is definitely noticeable. Their previous WrestleMania encounter a couple years prior to this was also good, and Charlotte came out on top by taking Rhea's NXT title. However, this time, Rhea was able to slay the Queen and gain a measure of revenge with a victory and winning the SmackDown's Women's Championship. And at the time of this video, still holds it as the World Women's Championship, with no one coming close to taking it from her since winning. Meltzer gave this match a 4.75 stars, and I couldn't disagree more. Yes, it is only a 0.25 difference, but I only wanted to point this out because he gave Sammy and KO versus the Usos 5 stars, and I did not. I had them actually flipped with the tag match receiving 4.75 instead, and Rhea and Charlotte getting 5. Rhea and Charlotte laid it all on the line, and not only won up their previous Mania match, but lived up to the hype they gave this match going in. Also going over 20 minutes, I think the most important thing this list conveys is that if you book with intent and give them time, the women can knock it out of the park on a consistent basis. The issue is that they're not getting those opportunities enough. That's not an AEW thing. It's not a WWE thing. It's a wrestling thing. So those are my top 5 women's pay-per-view matches in 2023 between WWE, NXT, AEW, Ring of Honor, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Thoughts? Grade the list.
I think you have the Becky Trish thing way higher than I would put it. I don't know if that's you came into it with lower expectations and didn't expect Trish to like be a competent wrestler or whatever, but that match didn't stand out to me as particularly good. It wasn't bad, but it's not like it was anything crazy for me. But I think we had that conversation at the time too, and I think I even said then that you viewed it as a lot better than I did. But other than that, no. I mean, I think everything else on there is fine.
All right, so can you think of a match off the top of your head that you would put in its place? Or
Not off
would
the top
you
of
just
my head, but like
would you bump up
I'm sure I
Bianca
could.
and Io to 4 and then put something else at 5?
Probably.
Or would you
yeah.
just flip Becky and Trish and put it at 5? Or are you taking it out altogether?
I'd probably take it out altogether. Off the top of my head, since I'm not the one that went and did a bunch of research on the matches for this year and what was this year and what wasn't, no, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I'm sure that there were better.
have to disagree then, since I actually have a list and you do not. But I do appreciate it.
Didn't tell me to make
I
a
do
list.
appreciate it. Like I thought you were going to tear it apart a lot more than that, honestly.
No, I
but-
mean, I think as soon as you told me what the list was going to be, the top two, I think we were already going to be pretty much in agreement about. So no, it's whatever.
All right,
'Cause
so
we-
this is
we
a
said a
brand
lot
new
about the Ripley
segment,
and
Jack to
Flair
the drawing board. I will be doing this probably around once a month. I do have the scene already set up. I just got to figure out my topics. Obviously, it'll be different, random ass topics, like the weirdest shit, and then stuff that obviously like this, where people can complain a lot in the comments. But yeah, Jack to the drawing board. Be ready for it, and then we'll get Ryan's rebuttal and everything. Okay, so like, I need to put the grades up. I don't think I have the grades up on this scene though. We need to start putting Ryan's grades. Let me add the scene. Add the scene of grades 2. Give me a second, and we'll throw up your grade for it. Grades. I think grades 2 was yours. All right, let me go to you. Please tell me grades 2 was yours. I hope. Where the hell is it? Did I take it? No, I didn't take it off, did I? Special segments. Shit. Yeah,
What you doing?
I don't know what I did with it, dude. Draft? Yes, draft. Okay. All right, so what grade do you give it? Let me see if I can actually pop it up here or not.
Grade do I give what? Your list?
Yeah, the list. Overall, grade the list. We grade the list all the time.
B plus.
B plus? Hey,
I
it was the
think-
right one.
Yeah.
It was the right one. Now, why is it so fucking small, though? Give me a second. Give me a second. Let me, well, we don't need it that big, I guess. But we'll just move it over here. Yeah, we'll do like that. All right, so that's... How about that? That looks good. All right, we'll do grades for that. There it is. B plus, he gives it. Actually, should I put it by you, since you're the one giving the grade?
Maybe.
Put it by you. Ryan gives it a B plus.
Things to
I
figure
appreciate it,
out
because obviously, you know, all my grades for myself are going to be A plus. So we'll put it by you instead. But yeah, there it is. That's grade the list. That's grade the list to the Jack to the drawing board. But that is Jack to the drawing board. And now we must move on to, of course, let's stay positive. Of course, we have to do this. Where we take little topics here and there that we find, or some stuff that we liked throughout the week. Since social media in general, but more so fucking wrestling Twitter, is so negative all the time, which you'll see soon when Rampage and Collision goes head to head with SmackDown this Friday. But we're going to try to talk about things that we liked in wrestling this week that maybe we have not covered on the show. Sometimes it is repeats of stuff that we've already said. But I'm going to let you go first because I know where you want to go in DDT, obviously.
Yeah, DDT, obviously. I think the attention that DDT got, the show that they put on was really good. The amount of attention it got from, you know, you never really see people on Twitter talking a lot about a DDT show, but having Jericho on there and then a lot of other people being able to see some of their matches, I think was good. I thought Hiromu had a really good match on it, and then the spot that they did with their Iron Man title or whatever was really good afterward too. The Jericho Takeshita match was really good. I know a lot of people have been complaining about Jericho winning it, but Jericho's the one that got all those people watching the fucking show to begin with, and them just losing all the time doesn't really build any intrigue for the setup that they're doing with the Omega Golden Jets, Don Callis family, whatever the fuck stuff. So I was fine with them getting one win. I thought it was a little bit weird that they did the handshake spot, given everything coming up, but whatever.
I think that was mostly done because he, in his head, doesn't view that as canon for AEW, so he didn't really see an issue with it, knowing how Jericho thinks and how he talks at press conferences and stuff. I think that might have had something to do with it. It was more of a showcase for the Japanese fans for Jericho versus Takeshita and DDT than I think it was to continue the story of Don Callis' family, because Don Callis wasn't in his corner, correct?
I don't think so.
So I think that was just like in a vacuum, its own thing. To us, obviously, it was a little bit bigger than that because we see weekly this whole storyline that they're building. But really, it looks like the storyline now has kind of went off to a side quest with Omega and
And the
Jericho
Bucks.
versus the Bucks. So
Yeah. And it's I think they're going Bucks heel turn, obviously, but we'll see.
well, they're going
but
to have
yeah,
to
no,
because
just
I think the Golden Jets beat them.
DDT in general. I just feel like getting as much attention as it did and putting on a really good show was a good thing all around.
All right, I'm going to go with something I lightly mentioned before. Heidi Howitzer getting the match against Athena at Ring of Honor was awesome to me. The clips coming out of that is hilarious. I still have to go watch the match, but the clips coming out of it is hilarious, dude. She went for, I don't know if you saw the clip where she went for the baseball slide.
Yeah,
And she said, "Oh, well, that's embarrassing," because she wasn't there when she went for the baseball slide. That was funny as fuck to me. I saw a lot of moves that Athena did to her, obviously, because obviously Athena's going to win. But if you have been paying attention to the show for a while, especially the audio version or when we did the Twitch stuff, I've been a big proponent of Heidi Howitzer. And when she used to team with Max as the Wasteland War Party, I wanted TK to sign them. I was on here almost every other week just saying, you need to sign Wasteland War Party. We need to get this. Because they at the time, they had a decent amount of like women that they could turn into tag teams. They had the Anna Jay and the Tay Conti. And then they had Allie and Penelope Ford. And, you know, they just had Nyla and Marina. They had like a good foundation. You only need like 4 or 5 tag teams. And I was like, sign these two and let's get that going.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been a big proponent of Heidi Howitzer. In fact, funny story, the Wrestle Universe that I pay for every week, I got that because Heidi Howitzer and Max were in TJPW, and TJPW is part of the Wrestle Universe thing, or whatever the hell it is that I pay for. I think it's Wrestle Universe. I'm pretty sure, but they have TJPW and DDT on there, and they were the main reason why I got the fucking subscription. Was Heidi Howitzer. Love Heidi Howitzer, so I thought it was a big moment for her, and I'm very happy for her. You got anything else?
I thought Garcia's promo was really good. The one that he cut after the loss to Max backstage, the one where he was talking about, you know, essentially like you can only be the up and coming guy taking the losses and getting like cheered for how valiantly you fought for so long before it's just like, no, you're just the guy that keeps fucking losing to better guys or whatever. I thought that was a good promo. I thought it was not the greatest choice to have him be the one that wrestled Andrade to lose on Collision right after, but
Do you think they fit in guys, and this is off subject obviously because we're trying to stay positive here, but do you think they fit in guys like Yuta and Garcia maybe in the Continental Classic? Those are nice guys that would clearly not win but could still win from other people.
I think Tiger Style Pro's original list had Garcia in Block A. So, I mean, I know people are talking about putting Garcia in it. I don't know. I think you could. But again, it kind of speaks to what he was talking about in the promo, where you know he's not going to win it, so he might get close or he might get some good wins over people, but it kind of puts him in the same spot as he's complained about, which I think is a valid, you know, from a character point of view, a valid thing for him to be worried about. But yeah, just in general, the way that they're highlighting some of their younger talents and giving them more depth in their characters and stuff lately, it's been good. Hopefully I do something similar with Jungle Boy when he gets back. We'll see.
All right. Storyline adjacent. Saraya, Ruby Soho, Daddy Magic, and Cool Hand. That storyline is hilarious to me. I do like when they sprinkle in some like comedy type shit. It's not like full on haha fart piss shit joke comedy like WWE does a lot of, but it's like a believable thing because, you know, it's just based off of a relationship thing, which AEW doesn't seem to do a lot of. So this is new or newer, like something that is not a common occurrence, and they're all killing it in the roles that they're playing in the storyline. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but Soho and Cool Hand are together in real life, so I guess that's a natural thing that they have going on screen as well, but it's coming off very well. And the fucking Saraya Daddy Magic thing at the end when they both pull him away or whatever, we got a big problem, and then Daddy Magic's like, a big problem. She walked away, and it was so funny. They're killing it right now, dude. In fact, let's talk about, you talked about Daniel Garcia's promo. Let's just give it up for promos in general this week have been pretty fucking good. Adam Page's promo was awesome against Swerve. You had the Daniel Garcia promo that you just talked about. You had oh my god, I just had it and I just lost it. Oh my god, I just lost it. Why did I lose it? Dalton Castle's promos that he cuts every fucking week when he comes out to the ring, which I really wish the announcers would stop fucking talking over, by the way, because he's clearly saying shit. And he's like basically cutting a promo every time he comes down to the ring and we're missing it. But his was funny as hell. It was just a really good week for promos. There was somebody else too that I'm fucking drawing a blank right now.
The Bucks Omega stuff.
The Bucks Omega stuff was good, but I wouldn't say like I'm talking like on the level of like what Hangman was talking about. Type deal. Yeah, I mean, the Bullet Club on Dynamite was pretty good, and their promo like it was a good week for promos. There wasn't like anyone like they came out and had a promo, and I was like, that was awful.
Yeah.
Statlander messed up a little bit on Collision, but not that serious. But overall, great promos, dude. Great promos all the week long. Is that it? We good? Or you got one more thing?
That's probably. I think that's probably it without digging too. Yeah,
that's good. That's good. We don't have to give flowers to everybody every week. I do want to throw a special shout out to a WWE storyline I'm interested in, and that's Damage Control. That storyline's pretty good. I do like that. And I love the promo that they had as well, where Bailey doesn't know anything about this. And then it seems like Dakota Kai is the one actually pulling the strings, and she's going to be the leader when this all goes down. So that'll be interesting because, of course, you have, if that's the case and it sets it up for War Games Survivor Series, Bailey's going to have to be on the same side as Bianca, Charlotte, Shotzi, and then someone else. And then, of course, that's when all the rumors get going that it's going to be Mercedes, but whatever. I think the way that they're doing the storyline so far, though, has been very well done. And it's going to be interesting to see, after this long of a time on the main roster of Bailey being a heel, for her to be turned back into a face. I wonder how that's going to go. Because she can't go back to the hugger face, so she'd be fake baby face, but it'd be a whole new style baby face for her. So that'd be weird. It'll be weird. Well, it won't be weird. I'm just interested to see where they go because it'll be so different.
Well, the whole reason that ended up getting thrown away the way it was because it was so fucking one-dimensional. So, yeah, obviously they wouldn't go back to that. But
I mean, she won the title as that Bailey, so, like, that was the peak of it, and then that's pretty much all you can do after that anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas the role model heel one, you can win the title multiple times, and it's fine because you're just getting heat anyway, so that's fine. So it'll be interesting to see where they go and how many layers there are to the character. Like, are we going to have to feel bad for, like, a Corbin, where they try to make us feel bad for Corbin, where they're trying to make us feel bad for The Miz currently? See, I think she's a lot more likable than those two guys. So I think it'll be easier for people to cheer her. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But people really like fucking Asuka and Kairi and Io too. So it's going to be really weird to see if they actually cheer Bailey or not. Or do they just cheer Bailey and then when they tag in Bianca and Charlotte, they just boo them?
I guess it depends on how the split goes too. Because if they make the split bad enough to where people actually boo Damage Control, like it'd have to be pretty something. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna have to see blood from Bailey's forehead or something. You're gonna have to really hit this home that they're the heels or something. Like it's gonna have to be crazy.
Yeah, it can't just be like a turn. Like, oh, you have to leave the group now. Goodbye. They're gonna have to do something fucked up.
All right, so that's gonna do it for the show this week. I think I covered everything that we had written down in the outline. Appreciate everybody coming through. I do have something I really wanted to show everybody too. So obviously we had the 8-ball thing for the Humane Society last week. I got a couple extra things too. They had a sale at Walmart for the Halloween stuff. I got 4 Halloween toys that I got on sale too that I'm going to throw in with everything else that we got too. So I got like 4 dog toys that we're going to throw in there that aren't Frisbees. I already have the Frisbees. I've got everything. I have everything already except for, sorry about that bag noise. I have everything already.
Paper towels.
Paper towels. I got to get paper towels and tennis balls, but I got to go to Tractor Supply to get the tennis balls and they're kind of far away. because I want the big one so that the bigger dogs can play with that. The smaller dogs and puppies can play with this, with the ones I just got. But I already had the Frisbees. I've got the blankets. I've got tons of Cheerios. I've got all the boxes. I got everything. Those are the only two things I got to get. I'll probably get the paper towels sometime this week at work, and then Friday or Saturday, try to make it out to Tractor Supply and get those tennis balls that we need to finish this off. Then once I get it all together, I will take a picture of it, put it on our social media at Real MonsterCast on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and then I will donate it all. That'll be awesome. So that's the update for that. Appreciate everybody coming through. Dave, obviously, always a pleasure. That's the Dave. I'm pretty sure that's the Dave, by the way, that was threatening to make extra YouTube accounts to get extra stuff sent to the Humane Society. Just so you know. Okay. But anyway, stay positive out there. Enjoy the week, and hopefully we'll get some more information on this Continental Classic. And we'll see you guys next Sunday. Oh no, not next Sunday. No. We'll see you earlier than that because we'll have a prediction show for Full Gear. Yeah. Full Gear is this Saturday, so we'll have to do something about that. You're gonna have to tell me like whatever your weekday is so we can do it when I get off work and do it real quick. Yeah. Because it won't be able to do Wednesday night because I'm not on vacation anymore. So. Okay. But anyway, we'll see you for prediction sure to be wrong for Full Gear. Deuces.